Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler, and today we have the Protech Malibu. So first I want to thank Travis for sending this in for review. Super awesome of him to do. I thoroughly appreciate it. And how cool of him is it to send it in? This dude hasn't even felt this knife and he sent it to me. And then I take a 4-day freaking break on reviewing stuff, and of course, poor guy. Sorry, man. We're getting through it now, alright? So this is the Protech Malibu. This is the sheep's foot or Wharncliffe, whichever, depending on which site you look at. It has the stone-washed blade, CPM 20CV, which is analogous to, I use synonymous, I don't know if that's the same terminology or not, but with M390 or CTS 204P. So it's a very hard, not hard, but it's pretty damn hard, but also extra corrosion resistant. This thing's got 20% chromium in 20CV. It's a badass steel. And kind of to recap the chemistry on it, you're looking at about a 2% carbon, a 20% chromium, a 4% vanadium, and then it's got a little bit of tungsten in there too. So after the heat treat process, these carbides get very small, so this can come to a super fine edge, and it's going to hold that edge for a long period of time. It's not going to be as tough as, say, S35, but it's going to hold its edge much longer, and actually it's even more corrosion resistant than S35. That's where this is at. So this is the Protech Malibu. It has the plunge lock system. It's a very simple, just push button lock. Let's see if I got Jake's flashlight in my pocket, which all this is going to get mailed out whenever my truck gets fixed. But you guys can see here, this is the plunge lock system. It's literally just a locking mechanism. You see how that comes out, that circular, well, we'll call it the plunge. It hits the tang of the blade, and it just locks it in the open position. Now, when you close it, see if I can do it. Just goes in, and the blade falls. Very simple, very convenient, and it's just, the action is awesome. And yes, I tighten this thing down, so you do have perfect blade centering, no side to side, no up and down, and it is just fantastic. This thing is on bearings. Let's see here. It's running on bearings that also run on steel washers. So they're not going to erode the 6061 aluminum body that this is made out of. And again, 6061, for those of you that don't know, they call it aircraft grade aluminum. It's just a magnesium silicon base aluminum. So it's going to have a lot of magnesium in it, which hardens the aluminum quite a bit. So this isn't like your typical, soft aluminum. It's actually a very hard alloy of aluminum there. This knife is a right hand tip up only carry. The cool thing is this deep carry pocket clip, which is a perfect deep carry pocket clip, is recessed into the aluminum line or aluminum scales, and even the screws are recessed into the scales themselves there. Very cool, very great design. A lot of thought went into just knocking that out. Like, you didn't just slap it on there. So that's awesome that they did that. So let's talk a little bit about this blade some more. So this is a Wharncliffe blade. This is what I would more consider a Wharncliffe. I talk about that all the time, how, let's see if I can change my lighting setup to make it a little bit better. I talk about that all the time, how, the Wharncliffe doesn't really have an angle to the belly here. This isn't completely straight, but it's damn near, and then it comes back in true Wharncliffe style. Now, other sites, like I said, there's some call it a Wharncliffe, some of them call them a sheep's foot. I consider this a Wharncliffe. So this blade is 20 CV, and so it's a great blade steel. The blade has no advertising or billboarding on it, as one would say. There's nothing. The blade's super clean. The only thing that has anything on it is this edge right here. Let's see if you guys can see it. Now you can see it better without the light. It's got a little bit, just got Protech and then some stuff on it. Not a big deal. But it is a great working blade shape. This blade shape is probably my favorite, short of maybe a sheep's foot or even kind of a reverse Tanto style. Let's get into some specs, then let's do some size comparisons. I'll give you my overall thoughts and whether or not this thing's worth it. And if this lighting sucks, let me know. I don't feel like it does, but, you know, let's see here. This is coming in at 3.08 ounces. It's relatively light, and those aluminum scales, or the frame rather, really, I mean, you don't, they're perfect. You know, it's perfect in solidity and lightweight. All right, let's check the overall length. The overall length of this guy is coming in at 7.5 inches. The blade length is coming in at about 3 1/4, and the cutting edge is just about 3 1/4 as well. Let's check the blade stock thickness here. So the blade stock thickness is coming in at 125 thousandths. The behind the edge thickness is coming in at just about 25 thousandths there. Let's check the top, see where we're at. Again, 25 to 26 thousandths. So you're not getting a super slicey blade. I'm not saying that this thing's not slicey. It is sharp as heck. What that means to me is that you feel a little bit more comfortable and it's not going to chip as much. I would rather not have a 20 CV blade coming in at 15 thousandths behind the edge because it's just going to chip right away. And that would annoy the living crap out of me. So let's check the overall width of the scales. Coming in at right at about 1/2 inch, which is really good. That's what I say is your standard width. And the overall height in your pocket's coming in at a whopping 1.058. To put that into perspective, PM2 is coming in at 1.6. The PM3 is coming in at a 1.64, and the Manix 2 is coming in at a whopping 1.74 or 76. So this is a pretty small, doesn't take up much of your pocket, and I can speak to that because I've been carrying this guy a little bit, and it really doesn't. It fits perfectly in your pocket, and you have no issues, and you don't even notice it. It's like, it looks a lot heavier than it actually is. So let's get into some size comparisons. Here's your PM3 and your PM2. As you can see, it's just about as long as the PM3, a little bit shorter than the PM2. Let's check your rat sandwich. Here's your rat model 1 and your rat model 2. As you can see, once again, it's almost the same length as the rat model 2. It's just a little bit longer and much smaller than your rat model 1. So as you can see, this is a fairly average size knife. For those of us that are used to carrying a little bit larger of knives, 3 ounces is nothing. Here's your feldspar and your mini feldspar. It's right in between those two in size. And last but not least, here's your Civivi Brigand. Beautiful, beautiful guy there. And your Civivi Odium. As you can see, once again, kind of falling right in the middle there. It's almost the same length as the Brigand. So what are my overall thoughts on this guy? So as you can hear, I'm pulling out my notes. Knives like this, especially something that's somebody's baby, A, and this just awesome of a knife, B, I want to make sure that I have my notes together so that I'm not missing any points. So I love the blade shape. I love the blade steel. I usually don't like aluminum handles, but even the coating that they put on these handles, it's a DLC coating, feels great. It's a great feeling coating, and it actually gives you a little bit of traction. The ergonomics of this guy, they're pretty good. I don't have any complaints on it. There's nothing phenomenal about it, but there's nothing bad. Like, I can't say anything bad. I feel no hot spots, and it's just, it's solid. You know, you won't have any complaints. Since we're doing this, the action, just using the plunge lock, fantastic. The flipper tab, fantastic. Drop shot, just stupid, right? This thing's action is amazing. This is probably one of your most fidget-friendly knives that you're ever going to come across. Whenever you just press the button and it just goes like this. I'm holding it sideways, by the way. Like, just awesome. Absolutely phenomenal. We already talked about the blade shape and the steel. I love the 20 CV. It's going to hold its edge for quite a bit. The aesthetics. Let's talk about the aesthetics. This thing is so classy and clean looking. It's just very sharp. If I had to grade the aesthetics, I'm going to give them an A-. There's nothing that stands out as incredible, but it's just so good looking because it's just clean. So we're giving that an A-. The ergonomics, we're giving an A- because, like I said, I have no complaints, but there's nothing that's like, oh my gosh, like it doesn't stand out as awesomely ergonomic, but it, like, in your hand, you have no complaints. That's just kind of being redundant, I guess. The action, obviously an A frickin' plus. Whenever you can do that, and I'm holding it off to the side and it's doing that, A frickin' plus. The blade shape and the blade steel, you're getting an A+ there too, because the blade shape is my favorite blade shape. The tumbled finish looks great. And 20 CV, M390, they're awesome. We love those. They're corrosion resistant, everything. So it's getting an A+ for that. And then the value. It's coming in at $199. For 20 CV, you know, that's kind of the price range, right? The only other 20 CV knife that I know that comes anywhere way cheaper than that, I guess, would be the Kershaw Bare Knuckle, the exclusive version, I think at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, or maybe it's White Mountain Knives, one or the other. Phenomenal knife. But, I mean, this thing, for a Protech and everything that you're getting with it, the action and just how simple it is. I mean, these aluminum scales, by the way, there's no milling in the aluminum scales. They're just two pieces. This looks like a backspacer. It's not. It's just part of the aluminum scales that are just milled into there. Great construction, the chamfering, everything around there that was so much thought that was put into this knife, it warrants the $200 price point, hands down. So the value that you're getting here, I'm giving an A- to an A. You just don't get much better than it. So I can definitely recommend this knife. If this is something that speaks to you, and you love the action, you love the blade shape, you love the blade steel, the Protech Malibu is your knife. This thing is awesome. Thank you so much, Travis, for sending this in. It was fantastic to even experience this. My name is Tyler. This is the Protech Malibu. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay sharp, stay safe, stay as warm as possible during these holiday seasons, and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day.